Well, somebody who's stepping up and wanting to take on some responsibility as we move into a new era for the local council is Sarah Race. She's going to be stepping up, a candidate for the Nepean ward, going to be busy down there, and delighted to say that we've got Sarah online to tell us a little bit about herself and what she's going to be doing. Sarah, hello. Welcome to RPPFM. Welcome to Lockdown Radio.
Hello, and thank you for having me on. I'm looking forward to having a talk with you.
Wonderful. We're really thrilled that you can join us as well, Sarah, because what we're trying to do is introduce the audience to as many of the local candidates as we possibly can. And you down in Nepean, an interesting ward, and going to be a little bit busy down there for you as well, I figure.
Yes, it is super busy. Well, we're coming up into school holidays, and are you thinking over the summer period?
Well, I'm thinking over the summer period, but also in terms of your political aspirations at local government level, because I think Nepean wards are throwing up a few candidates.
Yes, well, yeah, I think there's 5 confirmed that I know of, and 4 that that are unconfirmed. So it's almost a Melbourne Cup-sized field of people.
Well, fantastic. But I tell you what, you've got some cut through, because your website, I want to congratulate you or whoever's put it together. It is a really beautiful website. It is so crisp and clean. We get lectures here from Cindy about the look of our websites and our Facebook pages, and she's always sort of tutting us. But I tell you what, you're a total convert to the Cindy Warren School of beautiful, clean, crisp messages.
Oh, thank you very much. I did actually set it up myself, but I did have a lot of input from friends to make sure that it was just right. Didn't want to say too much because people can get overwhelmed with words, so you would just want to get the right messages out there.
Well, I just think you've got the balance right with what you're standing for, you know, your mandate and just the way it looks and there's just a lovely little story being told about you, your commitment to the Mornington Peninsula and Nepean in particular.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, well, I love this area. I guess I've lived down here for almost 6 years now, and I just adore it. I'm not a religious person, but I do say it's God's country. It's just divine, and the people down here are amazing. They're so committed, and they've inspired me to take this next step. A lot of people have asked me to before, but this year seems like the right time.
Well, it's interesting because, of course, you do have the Rye Community House as a background as well. I mean, what has prompted you to take that next step, Sarah? I mean, you could have sat back and said, you know what, it's COVID-19, it's lockdown, a lot of the council are going to be gone this time next year. What prompted you to say, I'm going to have a crack?
Oh, I think it was COVID-19, actually. I was supposed to be in England this year. My husband had an offer to go over and work over there, but of course COVID kind of smashed those dreams up. I had set this year up to running a marathon and finishing my master's, but COVID had other ideas, but I've been so involved with the community through the Kinder Committee, through the Rye School Council, really involved at Rye Community House, first on the board and then as somebody employed there doing grants and fundraising. And so I've had access to, I've met so many people in the community. So I've worked with Point Nepean Men's Shed, I've worked with the Rye Lions, I've even been on the barbecue with the Rye Lions, which was a lot of fun. And just getting to know the people of our community and their passion and the things that they want to achieve. And sometimes they just need somebody to help them voice those things. So that's where I thought that I could step up and do that for them.
So what are you tapping into in you that makes you this spokesperson?
I guess I found myself in leadership positions through my community work. So I ended up being president of Rye Kinder Committee, and I've been vice president on the school council. And I've also driven a lot of projects at the community house, so the Southern Peninsula Repair Cafe and the Rye Crop Swap, and then the Beach Clean Board. And all of those I found that I've been leading the programs rather than following, and I found a way to be able to bring people together and bring them with me, which I think is really important as a leader.
Hi, it's Shivani here. I'm so interested to hear about all the work you've done because you've worked in the public and private sector in e-commerce and lived in London too. Is that right?
Yes, yep.
Yeah,
yep.
So you've bring a lot of experience to the table. I'm really interested in the community projects that you've been leading and involved in as part of the Rye Community Centre, as I understand it. Can you tell us a bit more about what you were doing at the Southern Peninsula Repair Cafe and what that is?
Oh, yeah, that's one of my favourite. Well, that's a passion project of mine. The Repair Cafe is a worldwide movement of people that want to say no to waste. It's a zero waste project, I think. So we have a team of volunteers that come once a month, And for 3 hours on a Sunday, once a month, you can bring in anything that you have at home. So a wonky lamp, a chair,
I've got lots of wonky things.
Yeah. Well, you can bring them in and you get them fixed for free. But the beauty of it is you can sit with the repairer.
Oh, how cool is that?
It's amazing, and the stories, it brings the community together, and you see different people. You meet different people that you would never get to meet in your normal daily life. Like, you know, my life might be school parents and stuff, but this time I got to meet other people's grandparents and little kids and all sorts of different community members that I wouldn't have met before. It's great.
Oh, what a fantastic idea. I can see from the reports that it's had a 75% success rate with the over 300 items that have been brought in. But it's a lovely way of getting the community together as well. And, as you say, just great for the environment.
Definitely, yeah. It's a beautiful project. Yeah, really lovely.
So given the fact that, you know, you're motivated by the environment then, Sarah, would you agree with the notion that the Mornington Peninsula is at a very important tipping point in terms of its defence of the green wedge and what we hold dear down here?
Yes, I would say that. I've been lucky enough to speak to people, but not obviously face-to-face because that can't happen a lot, but via social media and with phone calls and emails. And the green wedge is something that's dear to all people on the peninsula. It's a very important part, I think, of how peninsula people see themselves, and it speaks to us. It speaks to the reason why we live down here. And I think we all need to fight to protect the green wedge to make sure that it stays as it is, definitely.
How are you going to take on the opposition? As we were saying earlier on when we first started, Nepean looks like it's going to be oversubscribed in an abundance of, I'm sure, very talented and very well-qualified candidates. What sets you apart? How are you going to pitch yourself to the local voters and ratepayers?
Well, I'm actually trying to connect with a lot of people that may not have voted in the last election. There was I found some statistics. A good friend gave me some statistics the other day to say that 30% of people in the Nepean ward didn't vote last time. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people that aren't having their voice. So I'm trying to appeal to a wider range of people to make sure that they understand that they need to be involved in local politics, that local politics matters to them and how it affects them. So I'm getting different messages out to them about their sports clubs. And there's a lot of people down here that are really into live music. And I went to a community meeting once, and these two young guys stood up, and they were like pleading for more places to play live music. And I think we need to consider all of those voices, not just the loudest ones that we normally hear.
Fantastic. Well, it's going to be a very interesting political campaign that you had ahead of yourself. What is the timeline, and when do we get to vote?
Oh, goodness me. It's getting very short now. It's becoming more like a sprint now. So nominations are currently open, and they close on Tuesday, the 22nd. So then everybody will know who the candidates are that have nominated in their ward. And then it's a postal ballot. So ballots drop around the 6th, 7th and 8th of October. And they need to be posted back by the 22nd of October. So they need to be in the mail.
Interesting days, Sarah, because as we were saying also at the outset, that a number of very experienced councillors have decided that that's just about it. We're losing our mayor, of course. There's a number of people in the Briars ward that are all stepping away from council as well. So this is going to be an opportunity for the neophytes to come in and maybe take the campaign into new directions.
Well, I think it's important because this is the first election we've had since COVID-19. So, and I don't think it can be politics as usual. We're going to have to really look at how we can reunite our community and bring them back together, and to see, you know, in the wash-up what the issues actually are at the end. How many people have been affected by COVID? How many people are unemployed? How many businesses gone under? And they're the people that we're really going to need to support.
Well, indeed. Meantime, you're studying. What, may I ask, are you studying?
I'm a geek. I'm studying a Master's in Politics and International Relations.
Fantastic. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. I didn't go quite as far as that in my university days, but certainly nothing wrong with politics and international relations.
Oh, look, I enrolled in politics as a master's subject in my final year of arts. And because I didn't know about Australian politics, we were never taught at school. So I don't know what you're going to do with your degree, but I just think it's so important for children to know about Australian politics as a fundamental core subject.
And international politics as well.
Absolutely. And I think that's fascinating and fantastic that you're going to add that to your plethora of qualifications in bringing it to the table. Obviously, you're very community-minded, and you're down in Rye. You're loving it down there. The weather's great today. How are you going, and the family, how are you all going with COVID?
Well, I think homeschooling definitely added a level of
challenge.
Craziness.
Yeah.
Challenge, yes, craziness.
Yeah, craziness.
But do you know what? It's been, in a way, and it's really difficult. We're in a privileged position where my husband's working, so that's good. I mean, he was looking at a redundancy at some stage, so that was nerve-wracking, but we're fine. And, you know, we've got a roof over our head, we've got food in our cupboards. We're fine, and it's actually been a privilege in some ways, some days not at all, but to have that time with the kids, because my kids now are 9 and 8, they're growing up quickly and you don't tend to spend as much time with them, but we've definitely spent a lot of time together now.
Take it from me as an old codger, really enjoy this next decade with your children, Sarah, because you have no idea how fast the next 10 years goes. And like me, one day you will be standing on one side of the air bridge at Tullamarine and you will be waving them farewell, and you will not know what to do with yourself as you drive back down that lonely road, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Incredible. Sarah, I love the tagline, "The race is on," in your media release. It's a clever campaign. It looks really good. You're cutting through. I think you're on some big issues here, and we wish you well. Hope that you go well, a candidate for the Nepean Ward.
Thank you so much. Thank you for giving me the time today.